The gathering of powers. In the unfathomable depths of space, where silence reigns and time stretches into infinity, the Astris Nexus station hung like a luminous jewel. It was an engineering marvel, suspended gracefully between two vibrant suns that cast a kaleidoscope of colors across its surface. The station, a vast city in itself, served as a neutral ground for intergalactic diplomacy, a sacred place where leaders from various species would gather to negotiate peace and progress. However, beneath its breathtaking facade lay a storm of tension and uncertainty, ready to erupt. The Grand Conclave Hall buzzed with anticipation as representatives from dozens of alien species filled the vast space. Each delegate was a testament to the rich tapestry of life across the galaxy. Some were ethereal beings of light, others were robust and scaled, while some resembled creatures of legend, their forms defying conventional understanding. Their cultures were represented not just in their appearance, but in the symbols, languages, and technologies that surrounded them. Yet, despite their diversity, a singular threat loomed large: the potential for an intergalactic war that could obliterate entire civilizations. Ethan Walker, a seasoned diplomat representing the human colonies, stood at the back of the room, observing the swirling chaos. His heart raced with a mix of anxiety and determination. He had attended countless negotiations before, but this one felt particularly fraught. The stakes were monumental, as the human colonies teetered on the edge of disaster. The territories they occupied bordered contested space, rich with resources essential for their survival. But claiming these resources without igniting a war was an almost impossible challenge. The tension escalated as Ambassador Marcus Core, a hard-nosed strategist, addressed the assembly with fervor. "We have laid claim to these planets for decades," he bellowed, his voice reverberating off the grand walls. "Our colonies depend on these resources for survival. We cannot simply step aside." A ripple of discontent washed over the crowd, particularly from the Rezar Coalition, a powerful alliance of reptilian species known for their ruthless expansionism. Their leader, Threx, a hulking figure with crimson scales and a fierce demeanor, was notorious for his intolerance of compromise. "Your claims are illegitimate, human," Threx spat, his forked tongue flicking ominously. "Your presence in these territories is an invasion." Ethan's stomach churned. The negotiations were already fraught with animosity, and the fire between the two factions threatened to ignite into an uncontrollable blaze. It was not just about resources, it was about pride, survival, and the very future of their species. He had always believed in diplomacy, yet as he watched the scene unfold, doubt crept into his mind. Amidst the chaos, Ethan noticed Luria Voreen, a representative from the Vin, who seemed to radiate calm amidst the storm. She entered the hall with a grace that was almost otherworldly, her iridescent skin reflecting the soft light that filled the room. Luria was known throughout the galaxy for her unparalleled wisdom and connection to cosmic truths. She was not just a diplomat, she was a bridge between worlds. As the discussions intensified, Ethan found himself drawn to Luria. Her presence was magnetic, and he felt an inexplicable urge to approach her. Just then, she spoke, her voice soft yet commanding. "We are all connected," she said, gazing around the room. "The conflicts we face over territory, resources, and power are fleeting. If we allow greed and fear to guide our decisions, we risk tearing apart the very fabric of existence." Her words cut through the tension, momentarily silencing the delegates. Even Threx, who had been ready to launch into another tirade, seemed momentarily subdued by her presence. Ethan watched, captivated. There was something profound about Luria. She had a way of seeing beyond the immediate chaos, tapping into a deeper understanding of the universe. As the summit broke for a brief recess, Ethan's heart raced. He felt compelled to approach Luria, to understand more about her vision of unity. She stood alone, gazing out through the vast windows that overlooked the stars. The light reflected in her eyes made them shimmer like twin galaxies. "You have a way of calming the room," he remarked, stepping closer. but I'm not sure that words alone will be enough to prevent what's coming. Luria turned to him, her expression serene yet filled with an underlying intensity. "You're right," she replied softly. "Words alone cannot change the course of fate, but there are ancient traditions among my people, ways to bind ourselves not just to one another, but to the very essence of the universe." Ethan felt a thrill of intrigue at her words. What was she suggesting? "What kind of binding?" he inquired, curiosity piquing his interest. Luria stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "We can connect on a level that transcends our physical forms. If we can establish this bond, it could change everything. It requires sacrifice and deep trust, but the power of this union can resonate throughout the galaxy." His heart raced at the gravity of what she was proposing. This was not merely a diplomatic gesture. This was something much more profound. The idea of merging their essences, of creating a bond that would symbolize unity across species, was intoxicating. He couldn't help but wonder if such a connection could truly alter the dynamics of the summit. As Luria's words sunk in, he felt a surge of determination. "I'm willing to walk this path with you," he said, his voice steady. "If this bond can foster understanding and peace, then let's begin." Just then, the delegates began to return to their seats, and the atmosphere shifted. Ethan could sense that Luria's proposition had sparked interest among some of the representatives. Hope flickered in the room like a distant star, illuminating the path forward. As discussions resumed, Luria and Ethan exchanged glances filled with unspoken understanding. This was more than just a diplomatic mission. They were embarking on a journey that could change the course of history. The summit might be fraught with tension, but they had a shared vision, a dream of cooperation and unity that could heal the fractures between their peoples. As the voices in the hall rose and fell like waves, Ethan felt an electric connection with Luria, a bond that hinted at something profound and cosmic. It was not just about negotiations or territorial disputes. It was about forging a future where collaboration triumphed over conflict. He believed that together, they could inspire not just their own species, but all the beings gathered in that hall to seek a better path forward. Yet, as hope blossomed, Ethan also sensed the shadows of doubt lurking in the corners of their gathering. Would the others accept their union? Could this interstellar marriage pact truly symbolize the unity they sought? As he stood at the precipice of change, he knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was ready to embrace it all, for the future of humanity, for the galaxy, and for the promise of a new dawn. The stakes had never been higher, and with Luria by his side, Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they would face whatever came next, standing united in the face of uncertainty, ready to forge a new legacy among the stars. The proposal of unity. As the delegates settled back into their seats, Ethan Walker felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He and Luria Varine were on the cusp of something monumental, and he could sense the eyes of the room upon them. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, as if the very air crackled with potential. Ethan glanced at Luria, who stood beside him, her ethereal presence calming amidst the chaos that surrounded them. Ambassador Marcus Core took the stage once more, his authoritative voice slicing through the murmurs of uncertainty. "We must act decisively," he proclaimed, his gaze sweeping across the assembly. "If we are to secure our claims and protect our colonies, we need to unify our forces. Humanity cannot be expected to back down in the face of aggression." His words hung heavily in the air, igniting a mixture of fear and indignation among the delegates. Ethan's heart sank. Core's uncompromising stance threatened to alienate the very allies they needed. The tension between the human delegation and the other species simmered dangerously close to boiling over. It was then that Luria stepped forward, her voice soft yet imbued with a quiet strength that commanded attention. "If I may interject," she said, drawing the focus of the assembly, "there is an opportunity before us that could change the dynamics of this summit." The room fell silent, eyes fixed on Luria. She had a way of captivating audiences, and Ethan felt the collective breath of the delegates as they leaned in, eager to hear what she had to say. "There is a tradition among my people," she continued, her voice resonating with conviction. "An ancient practice known as the Interstellar Marriage Pact. This is not merely a bond of individuals. It symbolizes unity between our peoples, transcending species and time." Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. Could such a union really bridge the gap between their vastly different cultures? He glanced at Kor, who wore a skeptical expression, and then at Threx, whose reptilian eyes narrowed in suspicion. The proposal was audacious, yet Ethan felt a surge of hope. The pact would bind a human and a Vin in a way that represents more than just diplomacy. Luria elaborated. It would send a powerful message to all species present, one of cooperation and peace, a symbol that we can overcome our differences. Kor's skepticism turned to derision as he interrupted. "You cannot be serious. A romantic gesture in the midst of such a dire situation. We need tangible solutions, not symbolic unions." Ethan stepped forward, sensing that this was a pivotal moment. "But what if the bond is the solution we need?" he proposed, his voice steady. "If we can show that unity is possible, perhaps we can inspire others to follow suit. Perhaps this is what we need to shift the tide of these negotiations." The murmurs in the room began to rise again, and Ethan felt the weight of their stares. Luria turned to him, her gaze intense and searching, as if she were weighing his resolve. "You must understand," she said softly, "the implications of this union extend beyond ourselves. It could change everything, but it requires commitment and sacrifice." Ethan nodded, his mind racing with the enormity of what was being proposed. "I'm willing to take that step," he affirmed. "If this is what it takes to secure peace and understanding, then let us move forward." The gravity of his words hung in the air, the declaration both liberating and daunting. Luria smiled, a warmth radiating from her that seemed to light up the room. "Then we must seek the blessing of our respective peoples. It will not be easy, but it is a path worth pursuing." The resolve in her voice filled Ethan with a sense of purpose he had not felt in a long time. As the summit resumed, discussions shifted towards the potential of the Interstellar Marriage Pact. Ethan and Luria shared glances, their silent communication echoing a shared vision. They were not just individuals in a tumultuous negotiation. They were pioneers, embarking on a journey that could reshape the future of their species. Throughout the day, tensions flared and subsided, negotiations evolving like the very stars that surrounded them. Ethan and Luria worked in tandem, engaging with various factions, presenting their proposal as a beacon of hope. Some delegates were intrigued, their curiosity piqued by the prospect of a united front against the looming threat of war. As evening fell over the Astris nexus, casting a warm glow through the observation windows, Ethan found himself lost in thought. The weight of responsibility hung heavy on his shoulders. Would the other species accept this bond? Would they see it as a genuine effort towards peace or dismiss it as a naive fantasy? He glanced over at Luria, who stood at the window, gazing out at the infinite cosmos. Her beauty was captivating, but it was her wisdom and calm demeanor that truly drew him in. "What do you see out there?" he asked, joining her at the window. "What is it that catches your attention?" She turned to him, a soft smile bracing her lips. "I see possibilities," she replied. "Each star represents a potential path, a choice that can be made. Just as we stand at this crossroads, so too do countless other civilizations. The universe is full of opportunities for connection, if only we are brave enough to seize them." Her words resonated deeply with Ethan. He had always believed in the potential for cooperation, but hearing it from Luria imbued him with renewed conviction. He thought of the lives that depended on the outcome of this summit, families, friends, entire communities, and he felt a fire igniting within him. "Then let's not waste this opportunity," he said, determination flooding his voice. "Let's create a future where our children can thrive together, free from the shadows of conflict." As they stood together, looking out at the vastness of space, a new understanding formed between them. A bond forged not just through shared goals, but through a vision of unity that transcended their differences. They were more than representatives, they were the harbingers of change. The summit would continue, and challenges would arise, but Ethan felt a sense of clarity in the midst of uncertainty. He was no longer just fighting for humanity, he was fighting for a shared future, a collective destiny where cooperation could flourish amidst the stars. As the night deepened and the stars twinkled brighter than ever, Ethan and Luria prepared to present their proposal. With each passing moment, he felt the stakes rising higher, but alongside that fear was an overwhelming sense of hope. They would stand together, united in purpose, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The universe had indeed laid a path before them, and with courage and determination, they would walk it together. The trial of unity. As dawn broke over the Nexus station, its towering structure shimmered under the first light of the two suns, casting long shadows that danced across the vast hall where the summit would resume. The air buzzed with anticipation and uncertainty. Ethan Walker stood near the grand entrance, feeling the weight of the galaxy pressing upon him. Today would determine not just the fate of the human colonies, but the potential for a lasting peace among the myriad species gathered here. Luria Varine approached, her presence radiating calm amidst the chaos that filled Ethan's mind. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice soothing like a gentle breeze. Ethan took a deep breath, centering himself. "As ready as I can be," he replied, steeling his resolve. The prospect of proposing the Interstellar Marriage Pact had filled him with both excitement and dread. This was not just a political maneuver, it was a profound commitment that could change the course of their histories. As they entered the Grand Conclave Hall, Ethan glanced around. Delegates from various species were already taking their seats, each one bearing the weight of their respective civilizations. There were the Valar, their fluid forms shimmering with vibrant colors, reflecting the light in a captivating dance. The Zereth, their insectoid bodies moving with a collective precision that spoke of their hive mind, observed with unblinking eyes. And of course the Rizar, whose scales glistened ominously, ready for conflict at the slightest provocation. The atmosphere was thick with tension as Ambassador Kor took the podium. "Today," he announced, his voice booming, "we will lay the foundation for our claims. The human colonies demand access to the resources of the neutral zones, and we will not back down." Ethan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Kor's confrontational approach was alienating the very allies they needed. He shared a glance with Luria, who nodded subtly, encouraging him to speak. Gathering his courage, he stepped forward, his heart racing. "Ambassador Kor, while I understand the urgency of our position, we must consider a path that fosters cooperation rather than division," he said, his voice steady but firm. "I propose a different approach, one that could unite us in our common goals rather than pit us against one another." Kor shot him a frustrated look, but Ethan pressed on. "I believe we have the opportunity to form a bond that transcends our differences. Luria and I wish to introduce the Interstellar Marriage Pact, a union that symbolizes cooperation and unity between our species. It's more than a ceremonial gesture, it's a commitment to work together for the future." A murmur swept through the room, a blend of intrigue and skepticism. Luria stepped forward beside Ethan, her presence commanding attention. "This pact is rooted in ancient traditions," she explained. "It binds two beings together not only in spirit, but also in purpose. If a human and a Vin can forge such a bond, it sends a powerful message across the galaxy that unity is possible, even among those who are seemingly different." Frex, the Rizal leader, growled, his voice dripping with skepticism. "And what makes you think this so-called bond will make us forget the centuries of distrust and conflict? A romantic gesture cannot erase our history." Ethan felt a surge of anger, but tempered it with understanding. "It's not about erasing the past, Frex. It's about building a future. We all face threats from beyond our borders, and if we cannot stand together, we risk losing everything. This union can be the catalyst for change." A delegate from the Valar, her form swirling with vibrant aquatic colors, spoke up. "While I find this idea unconventional, perhaps it is worth considering. Our home worlds are rich in resources, yet we are losing them to conflict. What if this bond can indeed inspire a new era of cooperation? The room erupted into debate, voices rising and falling like waves in a storm. Ethan felt both exhilarated and terrified. The idea had taken root, but it was far from acceptance. He and Luria stood firm, determined to guide the discussion toward a constructive outcome. As the arguments swirled around them, Ethan turned to Luria. What if they refuse? What if this all falls apart? He whispered, anxiety creeping into his voice. Luria placed a reassuring hand on his arm. We must trust in the power of our intentions. Change is never easy, but every great leap begins with a single step. We are paving the way for something new, something hopeful. Hours passed as the delegates debated, their discussions weaving a complex tapestry of alliances and antagonisms. Ethan's heart raced with each passing moment, the pressure mounting as he felt the stakes rising higher. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the room quieted. Ambassador Core turned to Ethan, his expression unreadable. If this union is to mean anything, it must be more than a mere symbol. We need a plan, a strategy that ensures our people's interests are safeguarded. Ethan nodded, grateful for Core's shift in tone. Absolutely. If we can secure a cooperative agreement alongside the marriage pact, we can outline shared responsibilities over the neutral zones. This way, all parties can benefit while fostering trust. As discussions resumed, Ethan felt a renewed sense of hope. The delegates were beginning to envision a future where collaboration triumphed over conflict. They worked tirelessly to draft a framework that would support both the marriage pact and a cooperative agreement. As the day wore on, exhaustion threatened to overtake him, but Ethan refused to waver. He was fueled by a vision of a brighter future, one where unity prevailed. Luria remained by his side, her unwavering support bolstering his determination. Eventually, the assembly reached a consensus. There would be a vote on both the Interstellar Marriage Pact and the cooperative agreement. As the delegates prepared to cast their votes, a sense of anticipation hung in the air, thick with possibilities. Ethan took a moment to gather his thoughts, feeling the eyes of the galaxy upon them. Today, we stand at a crossroads, he addressed the assembly. This is our chance to redefine our relationships, to move beyond our past grievances. Let us choose unity, for it is only together that we can navigate the challenges ahead. Luria stepped forward, her voice resonant with conviction. Let this be a moment that echoes throughout the cosmos. Let our actions today symbolize hope for all beings, a beacon of light in the darkness of conflict. Together, we can forge a future where collaboration and understanding triumph over division. With those words, the vote was cast. Ethan's heart raced as the results were tallied. Would they embrace the path toward unity or retreat into the shadows of their past? As the assembly held its breath, Ethan squeezed Luria's hand, a silent promise that no matter the outcome, they would face it together. Finally, the results were announced. The room erupted into a chorus of cheers and applause as the majority had voted in favor of the Interstellar Marriage Pact and the cooperative agreement. The energy was electric, the atmosphere transformed from one of uncertainty to hope. Ethan and Luria shared a moment of triumph, their bond solidifying with each passing second. They were not just allies, they were partners in a shared vision for the future. With newfound determination, they prepared to take their next steps, ready to navigate the complexities of their union and the challenges that lay ahead. As the celebrations began, Ethan couldn't help but reflect on the journey they had taken to reach this moment. The stars twinkled brightly outside, a reminder that the universe was watching, waiting for the new chapter to unfold. Together, they had taken the first bold step toward a future that embraced unity, understanding, and boundless possibilities. The bonds of destiny. In the wake of the momentous vote, the atmosphere within the Nexus station buzzed with exhilaration and hope. The delegates from various species mingled in newfound camaraderie, celebrating a collective decision that marked a turning point in intergalactic relations. Ethan Walker and Luria Varine stood side by side, absorbing the excitement around them, yet acutely aware of the gravity of what lay ahead. Ethan marveled at how quickly the tide had turned. Just hours ago, the future seemed uncertain, clouded by distrust and animosity. Now, they were at the forefront of a movement that could reshape the galaxy's political landscape. Yet, amid the celebrations, he felt a twinge of anxiety. They had a pact to fulfill, and with it came the weight of expectation. As the delegates began to form alliances and discuss the practicalities of their new cooperative framework, Ethan turned to Luria. "We did it," he said, a sense of disbelief tinged with joy in his voice. "But this is just the beginning. What happens next?" Luria smiled, her radiant eyes reflecting a wisdom that seemed to transcend time. "Now we prepare for the next step, the formalization of the Interstellar Marriage Pact. It requires deep commitment, and the ceremony itself must resonate with both our cultures. It is not merely a formality, it is a sacred bond that will symbolize our unity." Ethan nodded, the enormity of her words sinking in. They had to find a way to blend their two cultures in a ceremony that honored both their traditions. "What does this ceremony entail?" he asked, intrigued. Luria took a moment, gathering her thoughts. "In Vin culture, the pact is woven into the very fabric of existence. It involves a merging of energies and a public declaration of our intentions. There are rituals that connect us to the cosmos, acknowledging the forces that brought us together. It is a celebration not just of our love, but of the unity we seek to inspire among our peoples." As she spoke, Ethan envisioned the ceremony in his mind, stars shimmering, a vibrant tapestry of colors and energy swirling around them, connecting all present in a moment of profound significance. He felt a surge of excitement at the thought of uniting their cultures in such a meaningful way. "Let's invite the other delegates to participate," he suggested, his mind racing with possibilities. "We can include rituals from different cultures, making it a celebration of unity and cooperation." Luria's eyes sparkled at the idea. "Yes, it will demonstrate that our bond transcends not just species, but the barriers that have divided us for far too long. Together, we will craft a ceremony that reflects the richness of our diversity." With a renewed sense of purpose, they began to gather the delegates who had supported their proposal. As Ethan walked through the bustling hall, he felt a sense of belonging. No longer just a representative of humanity, he was part of something greater, something that could resonate across the galaxy. The delegates gathered in a circle, their faces alight with excitement. "We are embarking on a journey of unity," Luria announced, her voice carrying the authority and grace of her people. "This ceremony will symbolize our commitment to collaboration and understanding. We invite you all to contribute your traditions and wisdom, making this a celebration of our shared future." The assembly responded with enthusiasm, and discussions flourished as representatives began to share their cultural practices. The Vela proposed incorporating water rituals, emphasizing their deep connection to the oceans that sustained their home worlds. The Zereth suggested an energy-binding ceremony that would allow each species to channel their unique abilities into the pact, further solidifying their collective commitment. Frex, albeit begrudgingly, contributed a fire ritual, emphasizing the strength and resilience of their peoples. As ideas flowed, Ethan felt a surge of inspiration. They were no longer just negotiating. They were creating something profound. Each contribution added layers of meaning to the ceremony, weaving their disparate threads into a vibrant tapestry of unity. Days turned into weeks as they worked diligently to plan the event. Ethan found himself immersed in preparations, often alongside Luria, who became not just a partner in this endeavor, but a confidant and friend. Their bond deepened with each passing day, forged through shared laughter, late-night brainstorming sessions, and the occasional debate over cultural customs. One evening, as they sat under the glow of the twin suns on the observation deck, Ethan turned to Luria, feeling a mix of admiration and affection. "I never imagined that our cultures could harmonize like this. It feels like we're creating something entirely new, a legacy for those who will come after us." Luria smiled softly, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "It is a powerful moment, Ethan. This union goes beyond us. It is a seed we are planting for future generations. They'll look back on this moment and see it as a turning point, a time when we chose unity over division. As they finalized the details of the ceremony, the excitement among the delegates grew. Each faction was eager to share their traditions, and the whole transformed into a vibrant tapestry of color, sound, and energy. Banners from various species hung from the walls, and intricate designs symbolizing unity adorned every corner. On the day of the ceremony, the Nexus station pulsed with energy. Delegates adorned in traditional garb filled the grand hall, their diverse forms creating a stunning mosaic of life. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation, a palpable sense of hope filling the air. Ethan stood at the forefront, his heart racing as he watched Luria approach, resplendent in her flowing robes, their colors shifting like the stars themselves. She looked ethereal, her presence commanding yet warm. In that moment, he felt a profound connection, a recognition that they were indeed meant to be allies, partners, and something more. As the ceremony commenced, each representative shared their contributions, weaving their rituals into a grand tapestry of unity. The Vela's water ritual shimmered with elegance, while the Xerath's energy bindings sparked with vibrant light. Phrex's fire ceremony crackled with intensity, a reminder of the strength within each species. Finally, it was time for Ethan and Luria to perform the heart of the ceremony, their vows. Standing before the assembled delegates, they gazed into each other's eyes, feeling the weight of their commitment. "I stand before you, Luria, not just as a representative of humanity, but as a partner in this journey toward unity," Ethan began, his voice steady. "Together, we will forge a path that transcends our differences. With this pact, I promise to honor our bond and work tirelessly for the peace and understanding that our peoples deserve." Luria smiled, her expression radiant. "And I stand before you, Ethan, not merely as a Vin emissary, but as your partner in this sacred commitment. Our union is a beacon of hope, a promise that love and cooperation can flourish amidst the stars. Together we will bridge the divides of the past and build a future where all species can thrive." As they exchanged their vows, the energy in the room shifted. The air crackled with magic, the merging of their essences creating a tangible force that resonated throughout the hall. Light enveloped them, a shimmering aura that symbolized the unity they had sought. The delegates erupted into cheers, the atmosphere electric with celebration. In that moment, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. They had done more than just unite as individuals. They had set in motion a transformative journey for their peoples, one that would echo through the cosmos. As the celebrations continued, Ethan and Luria basked in the warmth of their shared accomplishment. They were not just the architects of a new alliance. They were living proof that love and understanding could conquer even the most entrenched divides. That night, as the stars twinkled brightly overhead, Ethan stood with Luria on the observation deck, the vast expanse of the universe stretching before them. "What's next for us?" he asked, a sense of wonder in his voice. Luria turned to him, her eyes sparkling with the light of distant galaxies. "The journey is just beginning. Together, we will face the challenges ahead, but we will do so united in purpose. We have ignited a spark of change, and it is our duty to nurture it." With the stars as their witness, they embraced, feeling the weight of destiny upon them. The universe was vast, and their journey was just beginning, but together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With their hearts intertwined and a shared vision of unity guiding them, they would forge a legacy that would resonate across galaxies for generations to come. The challenges of collaboration. In the days following the ceremonial union, the atmosphere aboard the Nexus station was one of renewed optimism and collaboration. Delegates from various species worked tirelessly to solidify the agreements forged in their recent celebrations. However, as Ethan Walker and Luria Varine soon discovered, the journey toward lasting unity would not come without its challenges. The first task was to establish the Cultural Council, an initiative aimed at fostering ongoing dialogue among the species. This council would serve as a forum for addressing concerns, celebrating diversity, and ensuring that all voices were heard. Ethan and Luria believed that open communication was vital to maintaining the momentum they had built, but convincing all factions of its importance would prove to be a daunting challenge. During the first council meeting, held in the grand hall adorned with symbols of unity, delegates gathered to discuss their priorities and expectations. Ethan felt a blend of excitement and apprehension as he stood before the assembly. He glanced at Luria, who offered him an encouraging nod, and he took a deep breath. "Welcome, everyone," Ethan began, his voice steady. "Today marks a significant step toward our shared future. We have an opportunity to create a framework that respects our diverse cultures while fostering collaboration. Our goal is to ensure that this council represents all species fairly." Frex, the Rizal leader, crossed his arms, his eyes narrowing as he assessed the room. "You speak of collaboration, but how can we be sure that our interests will be safeguarded? The Rizal have fought for their territories for generations. We will not back down without assurance that our rights are respected." Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of Frex's concerns. "Your fears are valid, Frex, and we must acknowledge the historical grievances that exist. This council will serve as a platform for addressing these issues head-on. We will draft guidelines that protect each species' rights and ensure equitable resource-sharing agreements." A valid delegate chimed in, her fluid form shimmering with emotion. "We must also recognize the ecological implications of our agreements. The oceans of my people are sacred, and any mining or extraction operations must be closely monitored to prevent ecological disaster." Luria stepped forward, her voice calm yet firm. "The Cultural Council must prioritize sustainability. We can explore alternative resource management strategies that honor our commitments while safeguarding the environments we all depend on." As the discussions unfolded, it became evident that underlying tensions ran deeper than anticipated. While many delegates expressed a desire for collaboration, some remained entrenched in their historical grievances. Hours turned into a heated debate, with accusations flying and tempers flaring. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him as he watched the unity they had fought for begin to fray. During a break, Ethan pulled Luria aside, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I thought forming this council would bring us closer together, but it feels like we're further apart. How do we bridge these divides?" Luria regarded him thoughtfully, her eyes reflecting the shimmering lights of the hall. "Change is never easy, Ethan. We are asking these species to confront their histories and let go of past animosities. It will take time and patience. Perhaps we should initiate team-building exercises to foster personal connections." Ethan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" "Imagine a series of collaborative projects, shared initiatives that require delegates to work together. This could help break down barriers and build trust," Luria suggested, her enthusiasm palpable. "Let's do it," Ethan agreed, energized by her proposal. "We'll plan workshops that encourage delegates to team up on resource management, technology sharing, and cultural exchange projects. It will be a way to put our unity into action." Over the next few weeks, they organized a series of events designed to foster collaboration among the delegates. They held workshops on sustainable resource management, where species shared their unique approaches to ecology. Technology sharing sessions allowed the advanced races to introduce innovations to those still developing. And cultural exchanges showcased the rich histories and traditions of each species, building a sense of appreciation for their differences. During one of the workshops, a fellow engineer presented an innovative way to harness energy from ocean currents, a technology that could benefit both aquatic species and land dwellers. The discussion ignited enthusiasm among the attendees, inspiring delegates from different backgrounds to brainstorm applications of the technology for their respective cultures. As delegates collaborated on practical projects, something remarkable began to happen. Old rivalries softened as they shared laughter and stories. Frex, the ever-skeptical Rizal leader, found himself laughing with a fellow engineer over a shared meal. The ice between them started to thaw, and Ethan observed a tentative camaraderie blossoming. Yet, even as progress was made, challenges continued to loom. Not all factions were as willing to embrace the spirit of collaboration. A faction of the Zerath, deeply concerned about their dwindling energy reserves, voiced their frustration during one meeting. "We cannot afford to waste time. Our people are suffering while you all engage in social niceties. We need actionable plans now." The room fell silent, the weight of their urgency hanging heavily in the air. Ethan felt his heart race. The Zerath's concerns were valid, yet the response they needed could only arise from the unity they were trying to build. Luya stood, her presence commanding attention. "We understand your frustration, and we recognize that some of our issues require immediate action. However, our long-term success relies on trust. We need to prioritize building that foundation, which will ultimately lead to sustainable solutions for everyone." As tensions rose, Ethan decided to call for a vote on immediate initiatives, emphasizing the need for quick action to address the Zerath's concerns while also maintaining the collaborative spirit. The delegates agreed to allocate resources toward researching energy-efficient technologies and collaborative initiatives that could benefit all species. The vote passed, and the atmosphere shifted once more, a testament to the delicate balance they were trying to achieve. They were learning to navigate the complexities of cooperation, understanding that patience and action needed to coexist. As days turned into weeks, Ethan and Luya continued to foster connections among the delegates. They engaged in deep conversations about their dreams and aspirations for the future, focusing on shared goals rather than past grievances. Ethan found himself increasingly inspired by Luya's vision. Her passion for collaboration ignited a fire within him, propelling him to advocate tirelessly for the Council's mission. Together, they began drafting proposals for shared resource management, environmental sustainability, and technological exchange, all designed to benefit their collective futures. On one particularly starry night, as they strolled through the observation deck, Ethan turned to Luya. "I see it now, the potential for real change. But I also worry about the factions that resist collaboration. How do we reach them?" Luya paused, considering his words. "We must meet them where they are, Ethan. Those who resist often feel threatened. We need to demonstrate the tangible benefits of unity. If we can show them how cooperation can solve their most pressing issues, perhaps they will come around." Ethan nodded, energized by her insights. "Let's schedule individual meetings with the leaders of those factions. We can offer to listen and tailor our proposals to address their specific concerns." As they planned their approach, a sense of determination filled the air. They understood that navigating the challenges of collaboration would require flexibility and empathy. With each step, they grew closer, not just as allies but as partners who shared a vision for a harmonious future. The following weeks saw Ethan and Luya engaging in heartfelt conversations with leaders from the more resistant factions. They listened attentively to their concerns and tailored their proposals accordingly, demonstrating a genuine commitment to addressing the unique needs of each species. Slowly but surely, the atmosphere began to shift. Leaders who had once been wary started to see the benefits of collaboration. They recognized that by pooling their resources and expertise, they could solve problems that had once seemed insurmountable. One afternoon, as Ethan and Luya wrapped up a particularly productive meeting with the Zerath, Frex approached them, his expression softer than Ethan had ever seen. "Perhaps I underestimated the potential for unity," he admitted, his tone begrudgingly respectful. "There is strength in numbers, and if we are to face the challenges that lie ahead, we must stand together." Ethan felt a swell of hope as he exchanged a glance with Luya. "Exactly, Frex. Together, we can accomplish far more than we ever could alone. Our differences make us stronger, and our shared goals can pave the way for a prosperous future." As the weeks turned into months, the collaborative spirit flourished, and the Cultural Council became a symbol of unity across the galaxy. The delegates celebrated their achievements, but Ethan and Luya knew that this was just the beginning. They had built a strong foundation, yet the real test of their alliance awaited beyond the horizon. With renewed determination, Ethan and Luya prepared to tackle the next challenges that lay ahead. They understood that building lasting collaboration required ongoing commitment, flexibility, and a willingness to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of intergalactic relations. As they looked toward the stars, they felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. Together, they would navigate the complexities of unity, forging a path that would inspire generations to come. The journey was far from over, but with each step, they were shaping a future where collaboration reigned supreme, a future where hope blossomed in the hearts of all beings across the galaxy.